we're looking at soups. 4 different types of soup, actually. So we have to look at the dormant quality of the clichés. We have a nice butternut squash soup, which is so easy, it's unbelievable. It has like a baby food type of consistency. Remember we said that the clichés could be dormant, but beware, at some point they could germinate and be there, pop up. Are you ready for them? That's the big question. So we have these dormant qualities, butternut squash soup. We have the feeble or attenuated quality to clichés. I thought, well, let's have a miso soup for that one, you know, the sort of yogi soup, you know, yeah, something nice and healthy and fermented and so forth. So we have a nice miso soup recipe in your file that you can look at. We also have the clichés that can attenuate. They grow. They're just building upon one another. Remember, this is really the unconscious mind. Somebody who really isn't getting any kind of self-study, doing any form of work at all, just living on the momentum of the past, basically. And I thought for this one we'd have the recipe for a nice mung bean soup, which is very cleansing and nourishing. And so here's the thing: if you live with people that are not doing any form of practice or whatever, maybe feed them a little bit of mung bean soup and see if that has any effect upon them. It's your universe, your exploration, remember, so it may be worth looking at that. Ayurvedically, it has a great cleansing and nourishing properties that are suitable for everybody. They're not going to trigger anyone into sort of make them rajasic, emotional and so forth. If anything, it's going to make them feel, you know, nice and comforted and nourishing. And it could be a good food to have if you know that you have some very colourful family members coming to supper. And then the last one is that alternating. Remember, the clichés can be alternating. Sometimes they're growing, sometimes they're dormant. We're not quite sure, but that's typically going to be where a lot of us fall into as well. And for that, I've chosen a big veggie soup recipe. My mum used to call it big soup, and whenever she would do, like, you know, at Christmas time, she would cook a nice free-range organic turkey. She'd boil up the bones and make a nice stock, and then she would have root vegetables, peas, carrots, potatoes, add a little bit of milk and blend some of it so it's a little bit thick, a little bit thin, little vegetables going to big vegetables, root vegetables and stuff. And so that's kind of going to be our soup to look at the alternating clichés. So maybe you could cook one soup a week, or whenever you decide you want to cook a soup, and make notes of whatever you're observing when you're thinking about that particular cliché or that particular quality of the cliché. You can make a little note in your journal and see how that goes. But for today, we're going to be taking a look at the dormant quality and whizzing up one of the quickest, most delicious soups ever, roasted butternut squash soup. Put that into your food sheet. Namaste.